have our college student panel. And so this panel is made up of young ladies who are both undergraduates and in graduate programs. And I wanted to add, going on our confidence and kind of talking about imposter syndrome that a lot of us deal with. I was first generation science. I finished my PhD in microbiology about a year and a half ago. And one of the things my mentor during graduate school taught me is that you have to almost have an irrational confidence in your ability to succeed, to do well. And that just statement has stuck with me because everybody, no matter what level you're at, feels imposter syndrome. But as long as you keep your confidence up, you will succeed. And so I'm gonna let these ladies introduce themselves and then we'll open it up to questions.
Okay, I guess I'll start things off. Hi everyone, thanks again for coming and being here and being a parent in your child's education. My name is Jenna Wiener. I am currently a third-year graduate student at NC State, hopefully getting my PhD in a couple of years in chemical and biomolecular engineering. I saw some Green Hope shirts this morning. I went to Green Hope for high school, and then I went to Wake Forest for undergrad and majored in chemistry and Spanish. So not fully STEM, you can have multiple interests too. And like I mentioned, I'm now at NC State.
Hi everyone, my name is Janet Daniel. I'm from Cary, North Carolina, and I'm currently a rising senior at Duke. I'm an undergraduate student. I'm majoring in biology and minoring in chemistry and global health. So thank you again everyone for being here and look forward to answering your questions.
Good morning everyone. My name is Shelby Brewer. I'm 24 years old. I'm a second-year PhD student at New York University. Tell you a little bit about myself. When I was 18, I found a parasite in a yellow perch, which was linked to intestinal cancer, which I am currently now working on developing a chemotherapy for intestinal cancer. From that, I was able to have many opportunities to travel the country presenting my research. So far, I've been to 12 countries and 49 states. From that opportunity, I'm currently focusing now on health policy and management while still conducting that research in hopes of changing health policies to change that gap in disparities. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Deshauna Burwell, and I'm a student at North Carolina Central University. I'm a rising senior, and my major is pharmaceutical science with a minor in chemistry and business. And I work in the BART laboratory. So the BART department is the pharmaceutical science department of Central, and I work in the laboratory.
Hi, my name is Krista Park, and I'm a PhD candidate here at Duke. And my research is in immunology, and I study infectious diseases. I did my undergrad at UCSD, majoring in human biology, but minoring in art. And I did my master's at Cal State San Marcos, and I did my master's in immunology. So pretty much I've been a student my whole life. Let me know if you have any questions.
Hi everyone, my name is Meenakshi. I am a rising senior at UNC Chapel Hill. I'm majoring in public policy and chemistry, and I'm minoring in medical anthropology.
All right, so these young ladies are kind of the next step up from what your children are, so opening up to any questions.
Hi, thank you all for being here. Two questions. I work at NC State and the school college in management. Thank you. And so I see from someone that works with college students the amount of pressure that they're under to get into college. And my daughter is the average student in starting high school in this year. She'll be a freshman. So my question to you all is, in the society that we live in, when there's all this pressure to get our high schoolers into college, with the heavily weighted GPAs in Wake County and the perfect SAT scores and the involvement, obviously you all have been, very successful. What would your advice be looking back to high school and how your parents supported you when you were dealing get into Duke or California or NC State? How can we, as you said, my daughter is not going to be the heavily rated GPA perfect SAT student. She's going to be a B and C student, and I'm okay with that. But how can we make her okay with that?
Okay, so grades. So I applied to both my undergrad, master's, and my PhD. So I understand the whole application process. And grades are important, sure. But actually, recommendations are more important, to be honest. I think that's how I got into all my schools, having a really good recommendation from my mentor. So I really recommend for students to have one person, like one professor they can rely on to really support them, in this process. But as a parent, I think what people don't talk about right now as a grad student, is mental illnesses. So I have really high anxiety, but I think that really comes with being a grad student and being working all the time. But I think my anxiety actually came from being a student in high school because grades are so important. And so as a parent, I think recognizing mental illnesses and saying that it's okay and that you support them and actually seeking professional help would be a great idea, instead of ignoring it and like telling them to suck it up. So, but yeah, I think
I think one thing my mom always told me was to never forget my goal. So I think when you get into a STEM field, you're really in it for the long run. I hope to go to med school after I graduate, so definitely in it for the long run. And she just always told me to never forget my goal, and wherever I go, I just need to do what I'm doing well. And I think that's like the biggest thing, especially at UNC. There are so many students who are transfer students, and they went to community colleges their first 2 years, and they're doing amazing things at UNC now, or even still in community college. So I think that's the biggest thing, is like never comparing yourself to people who are, a step above you, but look at the people around you and see how you can grow with them. That's probably the biggest thing I've learned.
Okay, so I will tell a little bit of my personal story. In high school, I went to early college at Central as well. So starting is a very small school. So starting out as a freshman, we had a class of about 80. And then in high school, ranking was big. So when I was a freshman, I wasn't the best student. My rank was like 71 out of the rest of the school. But just because I didn't start well doesn't mean your child is not going to finish well. Because with the support of my parents and letting me know I can still do great things, this is not the end, they got me involved in like tutoring and extra activities and subjects that I wasn't so good in. So through their support and the school support, when I was a senior, my ranking was number 5. I had a 4.0 GPA. Through the support of my family and faculty members at the school. So just because they might not be the best at something, it doesn't mean they can't be. So don't think that they can't be. Always give them that room to grow and give them that opportunity, because they might not even get it at school, but if they can get it at home, that's a big step. That's a big thing.
Yeah, I also wanted to, one of the questions that we were asked to prepare for was like advice to give to either young girls as well as parents. And so for young girls, sort of what was said before, really just enjoying the process and not being in it for the competition or for, even for myself, like having the end goal in mind wasn't really that sustainable. It was more just really enjoying the material that I'm learning. And I know the woman has spoken before about her daughter that's just interested in STEM. I think that's enough to push you, to motivate you, especially for people who are interested in pursuing careers. I'm interested in medicine as well, and so really just looking towards the end goal is so far away that if I don't enjoy it now, it won't be worth it. And so for me, something that's really helped me along the way, and advice that I would give to parents, is to take interest in your child's interests. I can't tell you how many times, even throughout my undergraduate career so far, where I've had like hour-long conversations with my parents on the phone about how interesting like primate sexuality is, or even the development of like kidney stones in biochemistry, and having them like ask me questions about it and like make comments about it. It shows that they're in it with me. And so that has been so supportive and so valuable for me in my process so far.
Can I add to that real fast? Yeah. So just on the note of failure, so when I was in high school, I was a valedictorian. I was set, I was gonna go do STEM, and then I partied too much my first couple years of college. And when I went to apply to PhD programs for the first time in undergrad, I didn't get a single interview. And so I worked my last year, got my grades up, got my test scores up, worked for a couple years in a biotech company, and then the next time I applied for PhD programs, I got into all of them, and I just finished. And now actually my job experience from my gap time is getting me job interviews now. So even though you can fail, and I'm happy I did fail, because now that experience is helping me a lot more. So even if you do have setbacks, it doesn't mean it's going to keep you back. You just have to overcome them.
So kind of keeping in mind this, you need to have a goal. I definitely don't think I had that attitude in high school, and I wish I did. I definitely worried way too much about my grades, and it was a number. It's just a number. I did really well. I got into really great universities. I ended up going to Wake Forest, like I mentioned, because it is a great school, and I thought, wow, this is a great school. I'm going to do great in this great school. But it's a liberal arts school. It doesn't really focus in sciences, and that wasn't really something that I thought about very much in high school when I was applying to colleges. And if I had had that goal in mind that we're all talking about, I might have looked at lower colleges, or not lower colleges, but different colleges that might not be in the top 20 in the US, but they focused more on science and engineering and STEM. And I'm kind of figuring that out now, and when I went through my application process for PhD programs, that's what I focused on. So even if they don't have the numbers, there are programs out there that will be way more beneficial than if they went to top schools and loads of other things. Just focus on what the school is actually focusing on, what programs they want to get into. I would say that's kind of where you might want to focus.
Thanks everyone. So my question is, I have a 14-year-old daughter, right? She's getting ready to start high school, and her favorite subject is math, which I'm very excited about because I have a bachelor's and master's in math, so she's following in my footsteps maybe. But she's total type A personality, and she is so anxious at this point that she doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. And I'm trying to tell her she's 14 years old. So my question is, at what point in high school did you guys decide on your path? And did you even change that once you got into college? Because I'm trying to give her permission to not have to have her life figured out at 14.
So I'll start with that one too. I'm 24. I don't know what I want to do with my life, so she has many more years to figure that out. In high school, I really liked chemistry. I wasn't terribly great at it. I was definitely better at other subjects, but it was very interesting. And so when I went to undergrad, I was like, oh, I guess I'll do chemistry, took some other science classes. Still didn't really know what I wanted to do, which is why I got a PhD program, because I still don't have to decide what I want to do. Not for another 3 to 4 years. And even maybe then, I can go to a job for a couple of years. If I don't like it, that's fine. I can go to a different job. But what I'm doing now, and kind of what we all have been doing in high school and undergrad and grad school for those of us who are there, is building the skills that we need for multiple jobs. She doesn't need to decide now, or even when she's 30, what she wants to do. I definitely think that climate is changing. Most people aren't going to the same job and working there for their entire life, particularly in the biomedical engineering field, biotech. People will change jobs 5 or 6 times. So, yeah, no need to worry.
My comment on that is when I graduated high school, I wanted to go to medical school. I focused in college on going to medical school, and I got into 16. And during that time, I was okay, I'm gonna go to medical school, but I had made this research good. I was good at research. And so my advisor said, well, do you wanna take this path? And I'm like, comparing what life would be like, and I realized how well I was at research. And I knew I could go to medical school, but I realized that wasn't my passion. And so I think sometimes you get a goal, you get caught up in doing that goal, everyone around you is pushing you for that goal, and that goal changes. And then your child is afraid to tell you, I don't want to do that anymore for disappointment. And I think what helped me was my family was very supportive. I explained to them I could do everything that I still wanted to do in this path, and allowed me time to do other things. It was not going to consist of 60 hours a week of work. And that's how I sold it to my family, and they understood. So I think you just have to allow your child that space to be who they are and be supportive in that. If that means that they want to do art for a little while, be like, okay, well, do some art, but don't lose your goal. So I always had something social to do. I don't think that you should push your child just to do work all the time, because you don't have a balance. And good students are students who are balanced.
Another question?
Where did you guys find your mentors? So you mentioned you found a parasite in a fish. I'm guessing you weren't just out fishing one day and saw it.
So how that happened was I was in my freshman year of college, and I had done really well. I took 21 credits both semesters, and I had a 4.0. And so my advisor said, I have a faculty member at University of Michigan. I want her to meet you. She's only taking postdocs, but she's willing to have you come in and just observe her. And I was observing other students. And then I started doing things, and I'm like, something's moving. And I didn't even understand what I saw. She's like, oh my, she started bringing all these people in the lab, and they were going crazy. Next thing I knew, I was on a plane going to LA. And from that day, she became my mentor. And now I vacation with her and her family. And it was awesome because she was good. She was good for me because you need someone to tell you what to do. She brought lawyers into things. When we had things for patents, she was there. And I needed that because my family is very religious. They're like pastors and bishops. None of them had ever went STEM, so they didn't understand what to do. And so I think it's important to let your child trust other people. Don't make them feel that everybody is out to get something. Everyone that helps your child doesn't have a motive. And I think that helped me. My parents were not that way, and she has helped me so much. I've met so many important people through her. So I think that's really important.
So for me, actually, I think this was sort of more of an internal obstacle, actually, that I've had. I think in like one particular field, I was looking for like someone to shadow, and in one specific division, of course, that I was interested in, and I wanted to find someone that was like the top person in their field, but at the same time, someone that, would look like me, and someone that would be there to support me and have my best interest in mind. And, as a Black woman, as a minority, it's hard to find both, and I wasn't able to. And of course that is because I was looking in one particular division. And so my solution for that was really to just kind of get both. And not to say that, everyone who's in the top of their field isn't looking out for me, but, and I've been lucky enough to have the mentors that I have, but I think that pushed me and has given me the motivation I needed to become that mentor that is both the top in my field and also someone as a woman of color who will be able to relate so well to other young women coming up in the field.
So how I found my mentor, in sophomore year of high school, my biology teacher said that for extra credit that I should apply for the science fair. And to do that, I actually went to the nearest college and I emailed like a bunch of biology professors and asked them, actually just point blank, asked them, hey, can you mentor me in this science fair project that I really want to do? And in the end, she pretty much met with me every weekend on a Saturday, and we did my science fair experiment, and in the end, I won. the science fair, and I was able to go to NASA space camp for that. And like she did this on her own time. Like she didn't really like mind spending her weekends with me. And so I think it's really cool that as a sophomore in high school, like a professor will actually take their time to spend spend their weekends with you just because you want to learn. So I think it's really cool that when you ask someone for help, anybody, they will most likely say yes, that they'll help you. And actually, during my high school, because of that, I started to take college classes to make myself look better for college. And then during college, I also found another mentor because I asked, can I please do research in your lab? I'm only a sophomore in college. And she was like, sure, I could train you. And so from then on, like, yeah, I guess I got lucky, but I think also the luck comes from you just point blank.
I think going along with that, so for me, I found my mentor in college as well. And my first year, I sent him an email and I was like, hey, I'm really interested in research. Never done anything in research before, seems pretty cool. Could I meet with you for a few minutes to talk about it? So I think especially like as a first year in college, new environment, all these amazing people around you, and with your, like everyone around you saying like, you gotta do well, like first year of college, it's gonna determine a lot. I went into that interview, I read all of his research articles, did not understand a single word, but I read them. And I went in thinking I had to know like all this science jargon, and I had to, talk to him about all this research that he's been doing for the past 30 years, while I hadn't even turned 18 yet. So, but went in, spoke with him, shortest interview I've ever had. He just wanted to say, hey, and when can you start? So I think for me, it was mainly just like understanding no one expects you to know everything. He did not expect me to know a single thing that he had done before, but just a general idea of like, I love science, I love what you're doing, and it seems like something I could help with, how can I contribute? So yeah, I met him my first year in college, and then since then he's been an amazing mentor to me, and I'm doing research in his lab this summer actually with Heather. So yeah, just like telling your children that no one expects them to like know everything, you know what I'm saying? No one expects them to be the top.
Oh, okay, so back on the topic of general confidence and confidence in our girls, I'm wondering if any of you were ever bullied, specifically bullying situations with boys and how you handled that, and if you have any advice for that. My situation is my daughter's 12, she's in 6th grade, and during PE class, the boys throw balls at my daughter and her girlfriends as they walk around. And the teacher, the male gym teacher, tells the boys to stop flirting. So, yeah, right, the whole message of the boy picks on you, he likes you, like, yes, we know, we're telling them no. So anyway, if you girls have any experience with that, if you could share, and if you have any advice for our young ones as they're going through this now.
So I went to an all-girls Catholic school, and I have been bullied because I was super nerdy. And how I got through that was just to really focus on what my goal is, which is to go to college. And honestly, if you go to college, you'll never see your high school classmates again. And so I just wanted out, and that's how I persevered.
I was not personally bullied. What I would say is that, you can hear comments, things that would be said. I skipped 2 grades, so it was different for me, if that makes sense, because I went from middle school to sophomore in high school. Height-wise, I've been like this height since like 4th grade. So that was never an issue for me, but socially it was hard. And I just learned how to be myself. and I had my own confidence, and I was thick, you know, so that was another thing. But I was okay with that. I was like, well, I'm thick, I'm gonna dress good, you know. So that was kind of, you know, so I kind of got my own swag, if you would say. And I think you have to let your girls know, like, find out what's good about you. Everybody has something that's pretty about them. If it's their hair, their teeth, something, and make that your asset. Like, you know what? I'm pretty, I'm smart. Why can't I be both? Why do I have to be either or? You know, it's like, are you pretty or are you smart? Why can't I be both? And I think you have to let your girls know, just because you read doesn't mean you're not pretty. Just because you're getting good grades doesn't mean that you're not gonna get married. All those stigmas that come with, are you gonna be pretty or smart? And I think it's just a way to keep girls limited. And you have to make sure you're letting your daughter know she can be both, always. Which way?
So, I wasn't myself bullied, but I know we've probably all been in situations where you've been the only girl in a lot of things. Yeah, lots of heads shaking. And kind of going back to the first panel where Marley was talking about understanding and listening deeply. I don't know if this will help, but you know, why are the boys picking? They're probably jealous because the girls are probably smarter. Why are the boys picking on them? Kind of like, I don't know if this could be like a reverse confidence kind of thing, like they're picking on me because I'm smart, because I'm better than them. Like maybe that'll be a way to give her confidence back. Like that's not the behavior of someone who's a good person or you know who's in the right.
Hi, so I love all of these suggestions. I'm taking notes. I'm going to have my daughter try and get a mentor and things like that. It makes sense to me, but my daughter thinks I was born in Helen Keller days, and she makes that joke all the time. She just made it yesterday. But so, and then again, she's turning 13, so I don't know everything. I'm definitely not cool. When there are times, and there are times definitely when she really listens to me. On the way here, I was talking about colleges, and I was talking about you don't have to look at name brand colleges all the time. You're looking at colleges that fit your needs. You know what you're interested in, find a college that does that. And so she was really listening, which was great. But when she's not really listening, what are some strategies for planting seeds or just communicating?
What I would say for that is let her have her moment. And what I mean by that is it's so important to encourage your child. Like my grandmother was, my paternal grandparents raised me. And so my grandmother literally was always talking about school all the time. But then when I was like, Grandma, this is my moment, that was like our key word, that I always had that time to focus on if I wanted to watch TV or if I wanted to just be on my phone. MySpace was big when I was, you know, MySpace, so that was like the thing to design your page. And so, but it gave me that time to not be thinking about school all the time. And I think that's important because when you give your child that time, they hear what you're saying, but sometimes it's too much, if that makes sense.
I was just gonna say, like, the same way, like for me right now, they tell us like, oh, maybe take a gap year in between like undergrad and med school. Like it really is the same way. Like you don't want to get burnt out, and I think like that can even apply to kids who are in middle school or high school. Like college is, I mean, pretty far away at that point. And even for myself, and I think most people, I know with the increase in competition, it's like even younger and younger that kids are being told about colleges, but I mean, they have the time and the space to be able to think about it, and yeah, I mean, really just reiterating what's been said and giving them that space, because they'll get there.
And kind of when you do have the space to talk about it, of course, taking breaks, you don't want to overwhelm them. I know if I was just being talked at, it probably wouldn't register as well, so maybe having her be in the conversation a little bit more. So asking her, like, what does she want to do instead of, this is what you have to do, this is what you want to do. Kind of, again, repeating back to the first panel, like really listening, like, what is her goal? What does she want to do? And then maybe providing some advice on how she can get there, but really understanding where she wants to be.
And I think one thing too, when like going back to the mentors, and you have these girls that are in their young teens, they might not listen to you because they think you're too old, but you can, like the colleges that they're looking at, almost everything has an outreach program, so you can probably go online, find it, email that director and say, hey, my daughter's interested. Do you think somebody can meet with her? And you can set up even like an undergraduate or a grad school mentor who's closer in age, and so they would probably listen to them more than, doing that, oh, my parents think they know what they're talking about kind of thing, so. And I say, grad students, most of us would all volunteer our time because, we're here. We want to help people get to where we are, so.
I just want to tie in the confidence and the bully part. One problem I face with my daughter is, especially when it comes to group projects, and the group consists of boys and girls, and when the boys are physically bigger than her, and when it's time for doing the project, the boys really don't listen to the girls. And my girl, she is extremely concerned about getting A's. She has to be the best in everything. So she pushes herself. She does the projects for the entire group. And when it comes to the boys, she's even so scared to go and tell the boys that, no, you have to do this part, you have to do this part. Because those boys don't listen to, I wouldn't say just my girl, none of the girls. And being a boy, I understand that.
But everybody.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. And as a parent, sometimes I find it very difficult, but she's sitting at nights and doing projects for the rest of them. And I'll come and talk to your teacher or your principal, but she says, no dad, don't do that. She doesn't want to be one of those girls who has her parents come and for everything. And I tell her, it's okay, you're in middle school now, the projects are not very big, it's still big for her, but there's going to be a time where you're going to be in high school, you're going to be in college, those projects are much bigger, and even in work, at some point you have to tell guys. So that's where, the confidence comes and bully. It's not really bullying, but it's kind of a quasi-bully,
Okay, so when I was in middle and high school, I was much like your daughter. I wanted good grades, I wanted to do my best. So when I was in groups with boys and even females who didn't want to do their part, I eventually got tired of doing all of the work myself because it's strenuous, because it's not my only class. So what I ended up doing was, in a group and I see that it's already heading south, I say, okay, if you guys say really nice, you guys don't do your work, when it's time to present, your name is not going to be on the slides. And they don't like that. So they're going to do their work. And they're like, oh, she's not playing. So I'm like, no, you need to do something. Or if she doesn't want to be that bold, you can also go talk to the teacher privately. And then she'll be like, okay, because everybody's grade is not going to be the same unless she thinks everybody contributed equally. But if you go talk to her and say, he hasn't done anything, or, just be honest, she'll get her good grade and he'll get his deserved grade.
And more than likely, the teacher already knows that the boys are not doing their part.
Sometimes the teachers don't really care.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part. Right.
They don't really care who does what, because they just turn in the project as a group.
Right.
And somebody ends up doing all the things for the rest of them.
Yeah, because my daughter's doing a project right now where the slides were all done, and the girl went in there was 3 girls on the team, and one of the girls went in yesterday and changed all the names, so it looks like she did all the work. And it has to be submitted, and we're like, no, that's not happening. We'll email the teacher, and my daughter goes, I'm gonna fix it, I'm gonna go in and change it. And I'm like, you're just doing tit for tat, we need to stop it now. And it's unfortunate because it's one of her friends. And now she's gonna have to live with knowing that her name is being taken off of the project. Yes. So it's a hard lesson.
Yeah.
I have a question for you ladies on the panel. I am a mom of 2 girls, and I wonder if any of you guys have siblings. I have a daughter that is really a high achiever. She's top of her class. She's gonna go to Carolina this year. She is graduating number 3 in her high school. And so I have a younger daughter who I'm here with today, who I try not to compare my 2 kids. She's very different from her sister. She's not as social. She's an introvert. She's very, very smart, and she loves science. So I try to nurture her. So I wonder if you guys have siblings, maybe younger or older, and you guys seem like really high achievers. You guys have really been accomplished. How do you handle your siblings, maybe younger siblings? Because I don't want my daughter to feel like she has to have pressure to get into every single college that her sister did, or, so how do you handle that type of situation?
So,
and I don't want her to hate her sister.
I have 2 younger brothers, and so I've always been the type A academic. I'm good at school, this is what I do. And my next younger brother is a mechanic, and the one over him went to the Coast Guard. And so my parents always pushed us to be best, but not in a certain area, and just said, okay, do what you want. And now we have an academic, a trade, and a military, and nobody resents anybody for anything. My brother just got stationed in the Bahamas. I'm like, what am I doing? I was always the nerd. So, just supporting and being supportive as a parent with whatever your kids decide to do. Because, if they don't go to college, it's not the worst thing in the world. My brothers both really enjoy their jobs. Everybody's successful in what they do. So just being supportive and being supportive for your siblings and what they want to do. It's worked for my family.
Yeah, so I actually have an older sister as well, and she's getting her PhD at UNC now. And 2 very different fields, health related, but she's into computer science. Coding, all of that stuff, I do not code. Cannot code, I'm not good at it. And so I think the biggest thing when I was growing up was, especially as first generation American born citizens, my parents are from India, born and raised there. And so my sister, one thing that my parents always asked her to do was just act as a mentor to me. Because there was a lot that my parents would say, oh, you should do this, so-and-so is doing that, or, oh, this seems really cool, but it was kind of the same thing. I'd be like, okay, but you're a bit older. I don't know if it still applies to me. So for my sister, she would kind of help guide me, and she really paved the way for me, where I am today. So I think just creating that environment at home of let's just support each other. And I think another thing, my mom never compared us because we are in 2 very different fields and interested in 2 very different things. So instead of oh, your sister's doing this, why don't you do that? It was more so, your sister's doing this, why don't you talk to her about what else you can do?
So I have a younger brother who's 1 year younger than me, and we both, before undergrad, we both did human biology, and I think my parents are like your parents, very helpful, and they pretty much didn't play favorites, and so in the end, what I actually did was help my brother get into his master's program and his undergrad, because I went through that first, and yeah, I think just helping your brother out is I think that's a start of being a good mentor, and then you can help other people, right?
I have younger siblings, and my younger sister, who is now 19, she is a C student, we were very different. And so when she went to high school, they always compared her to me. And now she's in college, and so they know me at my old university that I went to, and so everyone's like, oh my God, you're Shelby's sister. And so what I did was I built a very strong relationship with my sister, and I made her feel that you're good at what you do. She wants to go into social work, and I'm like, you're good at that. You love helping people, you're gonna help so many children, and don't allow someone else to limit you based off of me. And we had such a good relationship that nothing could come and change that. And I think when you allow your children to build that love, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you can have all these degrees, family is family. And that's so important. And so we have a very close bond. I don't talk about grades with her. She brings up, or she asks me for help. I do, but I don't even volunteer. Because I don't want her to feel like I'm saying she can't do it. Does that make, and so I think it's important that you facilitate that relationship between your children and let them know that they're there for each other, and grades are second. and it won't even matter.
I'd like to echo that and also say that I think it's more of talking. I'm the youngest in my family, and I have an older sister and an older brother. They're both also in the STEM fields, but my sister's currently in med school, and that's also what I'm interested in. So we've all been interested in similar fields growing up. But really, I think it's more about talking to the older siblings, I think, because I don't really think there was any way for my parents to, they didn't compare us, but to still feel look, we're interested in the same things, and she is accomplished, he is accomplished, and I'm just trying to get to that level. I don't really think there's anything you can do to prevent them from comparing themselves, but talking to the older siblings and making sure that they don't create a space of competition. If anything, I think it's really cool because my siblings and I will talk to each other, and either someone will be prepping for an exam and we're helping quiz each other, or because we're interested in similar things, we have something to talk about, and that just brings us closer together at the end of the day. But yeah, I think on your role in all of it would probably be, I think, talking to the older siblings and just making sure that they don't create that space of competition.
All right, we have time for one more question. Or we can take a break. Or is there somebody over there? Oh, right here.
Oh, right here. Can I just make a comment, and it's to piggyback on what you're saying. You guys have been amazing, and I've been taking notes, and I plan on sharing this with my 16-year-old, but I would love it if she would have had the opportunity to hear some of the things you're saying, because coming from me as the parent versus hearing it from you guys is completely quality.
This session should not be for parents. This session,
Really?
girls should be sitting here and they interact with
If you want to find us at lunch too,
Yeah.
because we'll all be sitting, so.
And I don't want to, I hope you understand that I thoroughly enjoyed this. I just think it would be even more useful for for my son.
So just wanted to add to this piece as one of the needs for this parent panel. This is a great way for us to give this live feedback, and I'm taking it forward, and we will definitely take this recommendation seriously. And I was also thinking that
Even if it had been recorded.
They need to see this because this is the next step for them.
We actually are recording right now, and so it will be uploaded.
That's awesome.
So we will do that.
Thank you.
So we just had a conversation about wanting to find a way. The advice was to allow the older siblings to find a way to do mentoring of their younger siblings. I wonder if there's not space for a mentoring workshop for that age group.
Yes.
In the future. We've got a large group of people who are here to mentor, and it might actually be useful to have someone to show how to be a mentor.
And maybe make it kind of age appropriate.
Yeah.
You know, because middle school girls are going to be in a very different place on this path than high school girls. You know, the older girls who are here today are probably, they're more figuring out which area of the sciences or whatever that they're going to be following, but girls who are in middle school are still in that stage of, I need to blend in, and, you know, when they high school, then it starts to be, well, at least this is my experience, it starts to be kind of cool if you're doing your own thing, you're more of an individual. But my daughter is almost 13, and so right now, you know, we're having a lot of conversations about, right now you and your peers are all trying to figure out how to be part of the pack, and that's normal developmentally, so when we're engaging with them, we gotta realize that a middle school girl is having a very different experience than somebody in high school is.
All right, well, so we have time right now for a short, 5 to 10 minute break, and then we're gonna have the STEM education panel next, so feel free to go to the bathroom